Welcome to Who Wrote That Up For You, a daily podcast that shines a light on the American justice system and its role in empowering the powerful to take from you. The justice system is the only branch of your government where an individual, rather than the collective, can make the system act for you. It puts power in the individual's hands, but it's broken and being used against you at a time when you need it most. And we are live on Who Wrote That Up For You. Today is Tuesday, October 11th, 2020. I'm Deborah Sloan. I am one of the courtroom 5. And I have with me today Corey Kirshner Sarakin, a courtroom 5 advisor. Great show
Hey,
for
Deborah.
you today. Hello, Corey.
Really glad to be here.
We have a great show for you today. In a few minutes, we will speak with Kristen Sonday, co-founder and CEO of Paladin. I'm sorry, that's Chris, co-founder and CEO of Paladin, who has some really good insights, particularly about pro bono services. But before we start, let's talk about the issue. I wanted to talk a little bit today about the Harvard Law Review, a Harvard Law Review article discussing the long history of assembly line plaintiffs, people that are suing people who they know can't fight back. And I've noticed that there are a lot of companies, I won't mention any, but there are a lot of companies that are suing their customers. It doesn't have to be a great amount. It could be $179 or $200 because that it's difficult for those for those litigants to fight back. So typically, of course, they win. They're lawyer and they win. And it's been myself have witnessed people who actually and inside the courtroom with, of course, the judge's prompting, an assembly of defendants who are basically signing away they're collecting, giving their rights away, and they're giving this company permission to go ahead and bill them ever how much, and signing that away, and they're leaving the courtroom thinking, okay, I've made my appearance for the day. But this is just assembly stuff that where the courts are made easy for companies to do this, and and I think that's pretty sad.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that term before, but that's not cool. We need a lawyer who sets up shop in the courtroom and is the assembly line attorney representing those people, right? It's a good issue.
Exactly. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be so good.
Yes, that would be. That would be. So let's bring on Kristen Sonday. Hello, Kristen. How are you?
Hi, Kristen.
Today.
Welcome. So I know that one of the topics that is near and dear to your heart that we'd love to hear some of your thoughts on is pro bono and how pro bono can play a role in helping close the justice gap.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that is something that I can work on every day at Paladin. So
fantastic.
So just Paladin. So our mission is justice by helping legal teams run programs. And so we work with in-house corporate teams, bar associations, organizations to help streamline and centralize pro bono intelligently, refer out those cases, and then take the data and reporting on the impact that's being had on organizations. The operation does a really great study gap, and they reported about 92% of civil legal needs or inadequately met overall. In the U.S., every attorney has a professional 50 hours of pro bono work. We have this like 65 million of attorneys who are giving back and not affected by this justice gap. So we are building the first end attorneys with people who can help you.
It's fantastic. I know we're having a little audio problem, Kristen. It's breaking up on my end, and I know we're hearing from a listener. Deborah, should we take just a second and see if we can maybe reboot that?
No, let's just let's Kristen. Okay, so we can't hear her. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit. Corey and I, we're going to talk a little bit about the pro bono. But, I think I need to let you go because I'm not hearing you. But we have you on another day. Can you hear me?
Could we just
good?
Yeah.
Okay.
We appreciate
Kristen,
you making
thank you
time
so much.
Technology. We'll get it to work. Thanks, Kristen.
Right.
We'll talk to you again. The joys of technology.
About the bono. Exactly. We're talking about the pro bono, you and I. And you mentioned something about a pro bono month.
Oh yeah, so it's actually a month.
I hope it's a month. Oh, good.
It's a month. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So the American Bar Association started in 2009, focusing on and celebrating pro bono for the month of October. So it's been going on since 2009, and it's an important initiative, Deborah, as you can imagine, for a couple of reasons. One, it draws attention to the need for pro bono services across the the country, across all types of legal matters. And what I think people don't appreciate is that the percentage of people who cannot afford legal services is astounding. And it's not just the communities that maybe you would expect to say the really underserved communities. There are people who fall in the gap between they make too much money for legal services and legal aid in the civil world, but can't come close to affording a lawyer. And that's a very difficult situation to be in, as you can imagine. So focusing on pro bono, when the ABA does that, it shines a spotlight on it. It energizes attorneys because, we all as attorneys have a, kind of personal ethical responsibility to the community as a whole. The legal community has a responsibility to give back, and it's really important. And so having some energy around it, and part of what I heard from Kristen in between the technical difficulties was that every lawyer has an obligation to do a certain amount of hours, but it doesn't come close to the need that's out there.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. We'll talk a little bit later. In addition,
okay,
a little bit more about this a little bit later. Let's bring Kristen on and see if she's her technical problem here. Kristen, to me.
Welcome.
Third time is a charm.
Oh.
Yes,
I think so. I think we're there.
Okay. So you have to start over now and tell us about Paladin.
Absolutely. One thing about Pro Bono Month, October is for this reason, and about Paladin and what it's related to exactly that. So our whole access to justice by helping pro bono programs, working corporate teams and bar associations, services organizations on the other side to help pro bono work seamlessly through. And as Corey was alluding to, LSC, Legal Service, a regular report, and published a report that said that 90 individual civil legal needs either unmet or inadequate, even though we have about responsibility to do 50 hours of work. So it's the 65 built-in market that's never really hurt. So we're starting to build that initial.
That's great. It sounds like you're I'm trying to understand what how your how Paladin is doing, how it does its work, how it is successful. What makes you successful?
Of course, the platform. Can you hear me now?
You're
It's
you're
still
you're
glitching.
break,
Cutting
yeah,
in
you're breaking
and out.
up.
Oh my
I
goodness.
only heard pieces
I'll
of
write
it,
It's
new
and
okay.
I tried to
computer. I
grab a
think
piece of
I'm
it,
gonna have to.
but perhaps another day, perhaps
Yeah.
another. Yeah, yeah. You try.
No
That's
problem.
okay. All right,
Thank
another day. All
Can,
right. Thank you.
but
All
yeah, but
right.
before you leave, Kristen, could if we, how do we get in touch with you? Let's
Yes,
let our audience know.
I'm at Kristen Sten
I will.
at always happy to chat.
Yeah,
Fantastic. And we'll do this again when
it
we
sounds
clean up
good.
the technology. We appreciate you giving the
Yeah.
Sounds
time.
good.
Mhm.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Kristen.
Okay. So my thing about getting is that so many people aren't able to get pro bono because they're stuck in the middle. They're tough
Hmm.
to get the legal aid where it's pro bono. They don't even have the right type of case, and
I see.
or they or make too much money, of course. And then there are the people who can't afford and still can't get free. They're stuck in that limbo area.
Right.
But the more people in pro bono, the more of these people can be helped. There's an issue. Again, the case there is. There are some people who really they can't have their cases heard, for example. Um,
Right.
and um, you know, like for example, an automobile situation, like Randy Frails mentioned yesterday. You're not
Hmm.
going to get a lawyer for that, and nobody's going to come in pro bono for that
Go
because it's
and take
not a
it.
quote serious situation. Yeah, but so I really feel for the people who are like that, who are in the middle. So
Right.
anytime there can
Well,
be any lawyers available for types of people, that would be because they have a right to certain things.
right.
And
And I
um,
think, Deborah, I think that's a really important point. I think that um, what what we need to talk about when we're talking about pro bono is the everyday legal issues and legal matters that people have, not just giving your pro bono hours to a fantastic, nonprofit. That's all fantastic, but we know the statistics, and Kristen was alluding to them, the statistics of people who cannot afford lawyers that are in courts every day. It is those people that the legal community through pro bono services should be helping. And again, I think it's fantastic that the lawyers, organization, the American Bar Association, carves out this month and really pushes and celebrates pro bono and makes it not an obligation, but something that everyone should want to participate in.
so
It's a nice way to give back.
is there some type of commitment? For example, have um, almost like a challenge do during pro bono month? Everybody does 40 hours of I don't know.
Well, there is
What would be a
they
typical?
yeah, right. We're gonna have to get in front of the ABA on that. They've got an entire committee to it. They have they have a week, the 23rd to the 29th of October, which is the Celebrate Pro Bono, and they share all of their ideas. So it's fantastic. But what Kristen said, and again, I wasn't aware of the number, but I certainly was aware that there was a pro bono component to, like, I think she said 50 hours a week, 50 hours a year. But we need a lot more than that, because as you were talking about,
Oh,
it is those everyday issues in people's lives that don't seem big to a lawyer, but can really be consequential to a person who's trying doesn't have any idea how to even start in the system.
exactly. It almost like a telethon, where where people donate. and,
That's
and
right.
let's let's move on to the next
Okay,
the challenge.
fantastic.
So yesterday's quiz. Give me two examples or scenarios of a breach of contract. The answer, one of the answers was bank sues for, or a mortgage company can sue for foreclosure because a mortgage is so that is a breach. That could be a breach of contract case. And then a customer sues a car dealership after the engine blows out on the new car. That is an implied warranty of an implied warranty of merchantability. In other words, you get the car to work the way it's supposed to. The engine is
Right.
supposed to blow out in the first year, especially when you're paying $30,000-$40,000 for a car. So the winner is Mr. Mumford.
Well done, Mr. Mumford. Those are great examples.
Yes, those are great. He did a good job on that. Okay, and then today's quiz: which of the following describes material facts? Is it A, facts that are true and relate to the case? Is it B, facts that are undisputed by any party? Is it C, that are relevant and logically connected to the merits of a case? Or is it D, that the judge wants to hear in order to render a judgment? If you want to participate in today's quiz, send your responses to quiz@courtroom5. All
It's
right.
going to be a good one.
so,
So
so,
I'm going to pick up. So,
so,
we were talking about
yeah,
pro bono and the, extreme need for more pro bono hours and more attorneys who are committed to it, and it gets back to the core mission of the system, and that is allowing everyone a fair chance in court, access to the courts, and access to justice. And one of the things that providing some pro bono hours does is it empowers people to feel like they really do have a voice in their own case and a voice in the system, and they don't become one of those assembly plaintiffs
people.
who has no way to have a voice or feel empowered, which is really a really terrible place to be.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's a theme uh, coming out of the whole show is the theme of empowerment, going out
Mm-hmm.
and getting your power. And one thing that I've been wanting to discuss on this show, since we don't have a guest, uh, I thought this would be a great time to discuss it. One of the themes
Fantastic.
is empowerment. Again,
Okay.
empowerment. And I wanted to talk about your responsibility as a pro se litigant. There are things that you are responsible for. I've seen on a number of occasions where um, a pro se litigant has kind of sat back and allowed the attorney for the other side to make decisions that they should be making, and only
Mhm.
because they don't realize the power
Yeah.
that. And so I want pro se litigants to know their power. And one example is I went out of the courtroom one saw this man leaving the courtroom, and as he was leaving, he was talking to the attorney for the other side. Now, I know
Mhm.
that he had just lost a case, and he was
Okay.
asking this attorney what he should do next. And it's as if he was getting away his power to, okay, I need to go and do A B. He just didn't know.
Mhm.
Another example is somebody or being sued and not doing discovery, just turning to take the
The lead.
to take the lead,
Mhm.
and allowing the attorney to take the lead because they're the attorney, and
Right.
mostly it's because, again, lack of knowledge. And a lot of pro se litigants don't know that they can send out their own discovery. You've got a
Mhm.
company that sues you and you want to sell, send discovery, send this stuff.
Right.
They're not the boss of you. They're not the boss. And so finally, the other one is one of my favorites. Sonia and I talk about this quite a bit. Is electing and bringing a court reporter to court. And I'm going
Mm.
to tell you a story that happened in court.
Okay.
Was had just really learned about bringing a court reporter because we had had some experience where that would have been useful, and we were just reservation of error and all that, and
Mhm.
how do we get what happens at a hearing. And so we were just, I am now and will forever be very committed to always bringing her. And so we had wisdom about that. And we done that about 3 or 4 times. And an attorney that we were against kept bringing his, uh, court reporter as well. And we would
Okay.
pay her, and his court reporter would come before we would, and before our court reporter would. And since there was no need for two courts, the first court reporter that got there got the
Ah,
job. And so we had to pay the court reporter $100,
for
$50
nothing.
something. And
Mm.
so this happened about 4 times. And for some reason, it's just that he always brought a court reporter. Well, we're going to always bring a court reporter because we're pro se. We want to bring, and he says, no, I'm going to always bring a court reporter. And so for this one hearing that was an hour long, we decided that since he's going to have a court reporter there, why should we get a court?
Right.
And this day, there was a reporter, and we were like, well, what the hell?
Yeah.
And
Right.
it turned out that he had been calling our court reporting agency, and we had a court reporter. And so for this employee, when we decided that okay, he's going to bring a court reporter, he decided that he wouldn't, so that the hearing wouldn't be recorded.
Ordered.
And we were I'm still in shock that a lawyer would do this, but that's really what happened. But the good news
It's
is that
frustrating.
we had a good judge, and decided that we were going to call our court reporting agency and darn it, send a court reporter. And so we went out in the hall, and that's what we did. And we told the judge, okay, Your Honor, our court reporter is not here. We're trying to get her. And the good thing about the judge is she said, it's your hour. And
Good.
I love that because
Yeah.
she didn't have to do that. She could have been really, really cranky,
Yeah. Yep.
but
You're not
that's
here
what
and
she
don't have your
did. Court reporter got there in 10 minutes,
nice.
and the hearing was recorded. We, of course, won the hearing because that's what he was afraid of, that you
Yeah.
know
Just
that
playing
thing
a
wouldn't
game.
be recorded. Yeah, yeah. So we took our power that day, and my
Good.
point is, just take your power. Just, uh, try to understand as much as you can, and then just take your power.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And as frustrating it is, and shocking that a lawyer would play that game, but it is true. Like you're in court. You have a right to be in court. You have a right to have a record. You have a right to have a voice, and you guys exercised it. So that's fantastic, and all the more reason why we need more pro bono attorneys helping us out and more access to courts and empowerment.
And as much knowledge possibly had.
Yep. Yep. Right
I
on.
think that is a wrap.
Boy, I really enjoyed
Thank you
being
so much.
here. Thank you.
Too. Are you feeling beleaguered, angry, or afraid, as if things are spinning out of control and you're powerless to stop them? It's easy to just let things slide and hope they don't get worse. But they often do get worse. The thing is, you're not powerless. Our courts belong to us, and their purpose is to give power to the powerless. Don't let your grievances pile up without redressing them. You can handle this in court. Or, if someone takes you to court, you can take them to school.